Good morning, my Live, Build, Change friends. This is Kerry Green, back with you for another morning mindset edition of the Live, Build, Change podcast. And let me just do a quick little commercial here. If you're not familiar with the weekly episodes of the Live, Build, Change podcast, they're aimed at helping you live your faith, build a business, and change your world. If you're interested in finding out more, go to livebuildchange.com. Hey, I wanted to talk to you about a phrase that you hear now and then, especially if you're on social media much or in the internet business space. And it's the phrase, limiting beliefs. Have you heard that phrase? Now, what's meant by the phrase is the belief that each of us, no matter who we are, has beliefs, things that we believe about the world or about ourselves or about what's possible and those kinds of things that actually limit us because they are beliefs that are built in what they would say is an attitude of scarcity or an attitude of pessimism, perhaps, is a way you might want to say it. Now, I want to talk to you about this concept because there's some of what is being said along that line that I believe is absolutely true, and yet there's other pieces of it that I think are not quite accurate. And so let's dive into it a little bit. Now, do we all have some sort of limiting beliefs? I think it's undeniable. Absolutely we do. And if you're one of those people who thinks, well, I don't. I think pretty optimistically. I'm a pretty positive person, etc., then you're not quite getting the concept, I think, because limiting beliefs are very hard to identify. They are things that have likely been with us for a long time, things that kind of shape the way that we view the world. And it's hard to get yourself into a place of objectivity where you're able to see that a belief is actually limiting you. You know, there's all kinds of things we say to kind of justify a limiting belief. And you may want to think about some of these to see if they sound like you. You might say, well, I'm just being realistic. And I absolutely resonate with that. I used to say that about myself all the time. And I think there is a legitimate approach to life about being realistic. You know, we definitely need to be realistic about things. But often that is said as a damper to something that's more optimistic, or as a damper to stepping into something that feels risky or seems kind of outside the box. And so we use that phrase to kind of protect ourselves and comfort ourselves and keep ourselves in a place of not attempting something different or something greater. And you see, this issue of limiting belief is one I want to challenge you on. Because in Scripture we're told in Romans chapter 12, verses 1 and 2, that we are to present ourselves to God as living sacrifices. And part of that is that we not be conformed to this world, but be transformed by the renewal of our minds. You see, there is a way of thinking that does not serve God well. It does not serve us well. That is not a living sacrifice kind of a mentality. And it's a way of thinking that is contrary or outside of the way that God describes reality to be. So let's go back to that phrase of being realistic. If we are going to truly be realistic, we need to be realistic by looking at reality the way God defines it. Not the way that we perceive it, not the way that our upbringing has defined it for us, not the way that our experiences have taught us to view it, but through the lens of what God says, because God is the creator of all. He's the all-knowing one, and He's the one who has fashioned us as human beings to operate within this world. And beyond all of that, He's the one who understands the impact that sin has had on this world and how to overcome it, which He has done through His Son, Jesus Christ. And once the Spirit of Christ is within us, God is the one who knows how to direct us to begin living out a new kind of life, generated by the power of the Spirit who lives within us. And so this is really just kind of an introduction to this idea of limiting beliefs. I want you to be aware of the concept and thinking about it, because in the next few days, we're going to dig into it a little more deeply. And I hope that you'll see that we all have room to grow when it comes to our beliefs. Hey, let's talk again tomorrow on the Morning Mindset Edition.